Hello, my name is Lynn Heitz, and I am privileged to be the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Pam Allen, and I'm so excited to serve as the national representative for the 2023 National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania Convention, and I'm the first vice president of the National Federation of the Blind.
And you are listening to
White Canes Connect.
Hey there, Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I am the treasurer of the Keystone Chapter and the Blind Merchants Division. Joining me today is co-host and White Canes Connect creator, Lisa Bryant. Lisa, what do we have on tap today?
It's state convention time again, and we have our very own president, Lynn Heitz, as well as this year's national representative, Pam Allen, who has been with the Federation since the early 90s when she was in college.
Yeah, it was really nice to have Pam on. Pam also serves as the director for the Louisiana Center, and she is also the National Federation of the Blind's first vice president.
So let's hear what is in store from both Lynn and Pam regarding this year's state convention in Harrisburg.
Pam and Lynn, thanks so much for being with us today.
It's great to be here.
Hey, I'm so excited to be with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And Pam, we have so much to talk to you about, but before we even bring you in, Lynn, state convention's coming up, approaching rapidly. Give us an overview of the dates and who's on first and what people can sort of look forward to this year.
The dates of the state convention this year are November 9th to November 12th, and it is going to be held at the Holiday Inn Crown Plaza, Harrisburg, Hershey, on 2nd Street in downtown Harrisburg. The agenda is almost done. There's actually a preliminary agenda up on our website at www.nfbofpa.org. We have a lot of things going on. We're going to have a senior possibilities fair on Thursday morning, our technology seminar on Thursday afternoon. We will be doing a celebration of veterans on Thursday evening. Lots of division meetings and group meetings on Friday. We will also be having a special program on Friday afternoon related to diabetes. And then, of course, Friday night, we will have our talent show, our not-so-silent auction, and we're adding in a couple of rounds of bingo this year. So Saturday's our general session. We've got a lot of really neat people lined up. And Saturday night's our banquet. And then, of course, Sunday's our business meetings. So, it's a really full weekend, Lisa.
Yeah. Bingo is different, right? Or
yes.
Have you done that before? Okay.
No. Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun. And I'm assuming that'll be Braille cards for bingo,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Nice, real nice. So Pam, again, an honor, a privilege, a joy to have you not only on our podcast, but really looking forward to you being at state convention. I've only brushed against you, but now I will have the chance to actually sit down and talk to you face to face, and that'll be great. But before we get into what you're sharing, we'll give you a chance to give us a sneak peek into your address to us at the convention. Tell us a little bit about your journey through the Federation. When did you first come to the Federation and all of various ways that you've advanced throughout?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm very excited to be with all of you in just a few short weeks. It'll be November 9th, and we'll all be gathering. So thank you so much. I know how much hard work Lynn and all the great team putting the convention together. And thanks to you both for this awesome podcast. So my journey began when I was in college, and I learned about the NFB. I was I received an invitation to a student gathering in Ohio, where I went to college, and I decided that I needed to go. I was really curious to connect with other blind college students. And so I had no idea that that would really change the trajectory of things. I met so many great role models there and learned about the National Federation of the Blind. I had heard about the NFB a little bit before, but never really thought it was something that I would be interested in joining. But I learned, like, I know so many people will come into this convention and making those personal connections and building relationships, that there were so many people in there who had knowledge and experiences that I could learn from and that I could share with. And so I was really fortunate to connect with the National Association of Blind Students, the NFB of Ohio. And then later, after graduating from college, I moved to Louisiana and just got involved in the Louisiana affiliate, and as a student first at the Louisiana Center for the Blind, and then ultimately on staff. And over the years, I've just had the real privilege to serve in several different capacities, both here in our state, also in different divisions, and ultimately on the national board. And I, to this day, continue to learn and grow. And I'm just so thankful for what I have gained from the National Federation of the Blind and from the people who teach every day that blindness is just a characteristic.
What school in Ohio was that you went to?
I went to Denison for my undergraduate in Granville, about an hour from Columbus. Great school.
I don't want to put you too much on blast, but I'm just curious, and you can be as general and vague as you'd like. So how many years have you been with the Federation?
Well, my very first, I would say my first Federation event, was Washington Seminar in 1991.
Wow.
And I have a really special connection to Pennsylvania, because when I was in Ohio, I did an off-campus semester, and it's part of kind of it was an internship / study off campus. And I lived in Philadelphia for a semester. And that's when I went to Washington Seminar, actually, because I was so close. It was easy to hop on the train. And many members of the NFB of Pennsylvania affiliate really welcomed me and were such great encouragers and examples for me. I was thinking about a lot of different options career-wise, one of them being law school. And so I connected with some wonderful lawyers in the Pennsylvania affiliate, and I just was so grateful, and am still incredibly grateful for that time, because it was a really pivotal time for me in my own growing as a blind person, and just experiencing being out in the world, dealing with different attitudes about blindness for the first time, some good, some not so great. And because of the Philadelphia chapter and a lot of the members that I met from the Pennsylvania affiliate and the student division, it really helped me on my journey.
I think that's a lot. Talking about going to Washington Seminar from Philadelphia, I think we are very spoiled when we meet folks at Washington Seminar, and they've come from all over the place and traveled for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we ate breakfast at home, slowly jumped on the train, and by lunchtime, we were in Washington ready to eat lunch. It's just incredible that people come from California and Hawaii and wherever. And meanwhile, it's, again, like getting on a commuter train almost.
Well, and the interesting thing about that, too, is because I was in Philadelphia, again, I decided everybody had been talking about our National Center in Baltimore, and, oh, you should go see that. It's great. You're so close. And so I did, again, I jumped on the train and went to visit the National Center and had a tour. And again, all these things, kind of were really important moments. I had no idea yet, how life would unfold, but I know that semester in Philadelphia was really important.
You also run one of the national schools, the Centers for the Blind. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we have three NFB training centers, Blind Incorporated in Minneapolis, the Colorado Center for the Blind in Littleton, and the Louisiana Center for the Blind in Ruston. And I have served as the director of the Louisiana Center for the Blind since 2001. And I also, as I mentioned, I attended training here. I'm a graduate of the center as a student. I've worked in several other capacities before I became the director at the center. And so that has again been an incredible experience that I learn from every day. We work with, in our three training centers, we work with blind people and who are interested in learning about how to build skills of blindness and increase their confidence, and work on philosophy about blindness and meet blind role models. And so that has just been such a challenging and rewarding job. And I've had the honor to work with incredible staff and students. Our NFB training centers are really grateful to have had numerous graduates who've come through from Pennsylvania. And so, our training centers are a really important part of the work that we do in the National Federation of the Blind.
Could you tell us the difference between the different centers, other than maybe the weather? Obviously, if you go to Minneapolis, it's going to be chilly. Colorado, you're going to get some snow, and then it's going to be 60 degrees the next day. Louisiana, going to be hot and muggy. But what's the difference in the centers themselves?
I think that's a great question. I would say the primary difference really is the geography. I would say, all of our centers are affiliated with the National Federation of the Blind, and we believe that blind people can do anything. And every day we are encouraging and challenging our students and helping them understand that as they build skills and build confidence, that they can really live the lives that they want. And because we know from our own experience and our time at the center, that when you experience a thriving community of blind people, nothing can hold you back from pursuing your dreams. And I know that I get that question a lot. And really, because we use the methodology at our centers, the same methodology, we have a core curriculum at all our three centers. Obviously, we have different staff members and geographic locations, and some of the activities we do are, like you said, obviously we're not snow skiing in Louisiana, and but we have access. If we wanted to go skiing, we could do that. We take our students to Mardi Gras every year because that's a Louisiana tradition that maybe doesn't happen at the other two centers, but they have comparable things. And so we consider each other sister centers, and we really work really closely together to help people access training so that they can gain their independence and their confidence and a positive philosophy and a connection with the National Federation of the Blind.
And it's really the student's choice on, hey, I want to go to Louisiana,
Correct.
Colorado.
That's okay. Right. Right. And all of the, we work with state agencies from all over the country. And that's right. It is up to the individual to decide where they want to go. And I would just encourage people to contact the centers directly and talk with myself or the directors of the other centers, graduates of the programs, and ask questions and get an idea. I think training is a really important investment in an individual and what their future holds.
What's nice is that there is this uniformity. So whether a student, is in Louisiana or any other locations, and if two students meet one another from different schools, they will have pretty much a very similar shared experience. So that's nice.
Right.
That there's consistency.
Exactly. A lot of milestones, experiences, the confidence building. Exactly right. Using learning shades to build non-visual skills, and just again that connection. The great thing about our graduates is that they're connected with the NFB, so they have wherever they live, wherever they decide to move, they have a connection with an affiliate there.
So Lynn, you really scored. Not that any of the national representatives are, any less than, but we've got a really good one this year. Actually, I'd like both of you to talk about the process of getting a national representative. Lynn, how much weight do you have? Is it luck of the draw? Like how does that even get started?
So it's really all about what President Riccobono wants to do and who he wants to send where. We really don't have, as a state affiliate president, we really don't have much influence over that. I would say that the only time there was some influence was in 2015, which was the 75th anniversary. We requested that President Riccobono come because it was the 75th anniversary, and we had the state convention in Wilkes-Barre, which is the birthplace of the NFB.
Yeah.
So, so that's really the only time that there's actually been a request come through.
I feel like I won the prize because I get to go to Pennsylvania. So it's always a real honor. My husband, Roland, and I are really excited to be back. We haven't been there in a number of years. A key part of what we do in the National Federation of the Blind happens, at our convention, state and national. And obviously, the president can't be at every one. And so we have the honor to be able to represent him at these conventions, and I think it's a really powerful connection, and to be together and to have that connection.
So you don't have any say, though, in, hey, I'd like to go to Pennsylvania. I'm free November 9th through the 12th.
We serve at the, President Riccobono, obviously he works to be respectful of other, commitments or things that people have that might conflict, but he determines, where we will be when. And so
I'm thinking of National Convention when Hawaii requested Everett Bacon, and he was very much into it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I thought you were going to say, I was thinking everybody requests to go to Hawaii, but in Puerto Rico.
So how far in advance are the requests made? Is it the year prior?
No, honestly, generally speaking, we find, and I remember I'm the president of the NFB of Louisiana, so it's the same. I wear that hat too. So I don't yet know my representative. Who our representative will be for our April convention. So we usually, President Riccobono makes the assignments. Usually, within a couple months or so before the convention. So you have several months to plan and work together with the state affiliate and help out in any way that is useful. But usually, a few months in advance is when the assignments are made. And, every President Riccobono works to make it to conventions. He serves as national representative for several conventions and tries to rotate that around, from year to year. So ultimately he gets to everybody. But, there are some weekends that are really popular for conventions, like the weekend of your convention, for example, is often a popular one. So sometimes there, maybe 10 different conventions one weekend. So that gets, that's a lot of juggling, but, I love the thing about being a national representative. It really always reinforces to me, even, we're different affiliates. We have lots of diversity in our organization. Wherever you are visiting for a state convention, that you see such dedication and commitment and people just working together for common goals. And so it's always just really uplifting to come to different national, state conventions as a national rep. And I'm always really grateful because I always learn something to take back here to Louisiana that helps our affiliate. So I really love serving.
What qualifies one to be on the national representative list?
It usually is someone who serves on the national board, but not necessarily. Because
that's only but a select few as well.
Correct, right. But that's right. And sometimes again, that's one that might be, that's often where many also other, for example, the directors of our training centers, have served as national reps. The board chairs of our training centers, like last year, Carl was your national rep, for example. And so people who hold, those positions, chairs of the board of directors of our training centers, also sometimes division leaders maybe might be occasionally staff members of our national center like sometimes serve as national representatives. So depending on President Riccobona what he feels would be a good fit, and maybe there's particular reasons that he chooses individuals, but those are some examples of not carved in stone by any means, but those are some examples of categories.
And I noticed that prior to your full speech, there's a panel that you're on. Tell us about that.
I think the key thing in all of us, right, whether we have been blind most of our lives, or if blindness is something that's new, or it's an ongoing process, I think particularly we need to find places where we can come together and talk about the things that we're thinking, the things that we're experiencing, the worries that we have, the questions, the fears, the wonderings. And so, I think our hope is for that presentation is that we can really meet people where they are. Blindness, we know in the National Federation of the Blind that blindness is not a tragedy, and that it's really the low expectations that are the things that hold us back. But it doesn't always feel that way. Sometimes blindness, when we feel isolated, or we're unsure, or maybe we've had an experience where someone denied us access to something because we were blind, or doubted our abilities, it doesn't feel like just a characteristic. And helping people talk through those experiences and find resources and skills and connections to really help end that process is what I hope will be the outcome of the presentation.
I like that you will be availing yourself prior to just addressing the larger group. Any other opportunities for people to have these sort of, to have any one-on-ones with you? You're coming in when? And you'll be flitting
Lynn and
about.
we're strategizing on that as I speak.
Oh, good.
We are hoping to. The plan is that Roland and I would arrive in Wednesday night, finalizing those details. So to be there, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll be flying out on Sunday. I know that we're talking about doing, Roland's going to be available to work with people on cane travel. And so if people have questions about that, I know some people, have been taking advantage of our free white cane program, and maybe are getting their first cane, or have gotten their first cane, or are new to using a cane and have questions about, how to use it and how to store it. And what do you do if you're trying to carry a tray and use your cane, or whatever, all kinds of things that come up. And so he will be available throughout the time that we're there, to do some work there. And if I would love to, I'm at Lynn's. She tells me where to go and when.
And you just show up.
And that's right. I'm there. And so, right. But I would be happy to talk to anybody if there's questions about training, if you have questions about the NFB in general, or any way that I can be helpful. I'm happy. My email address, you can reach me at pallen@nfb.org. So I'm happy if people have questions or want to try to work something out in advance, but we will be around and looking forward to reconnecting with people, and also welcoming our first timers.
I have a very important question about the convention and being available. Last year, and you mentioned Carl, year, Carl participated in the talent show.
I know, the pressure.
Will you be participating in the talent show?
Pressure. Oh my gosh. The pressure. I wish I was as good of a musician as Carl is. I love to hear him play and sing, and he has entertained many. Let me just say that is a work in progress. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
There might be a surprise, right?
That's right. I don't want to blow my act or anything.
Yeah. Lynn, what do you think are some of the real highlights this year that people want to make sure they're in time for? Because I know, you can straggle in at different parts of those days, but what would you sort of urge people to make sure they do not miss?
I think they should not miss any of it. But
very diplomatically put.
I'd have to say the banquet.
Mhm.
I think the banquet is really important. That's when the national rep does the keynote address. If we have a state scholarship winner, they're awarded their state scholarship. That would have to be at the top. But then general session is always great. There's always some different people, different speakers from different places. And sometimes there are some repeats. I mean, we always have the people from the blindness and visual services to come and talk. And sometimes there's some very interesting questions that get asked. But then, like on Friday, we have all the division meetings, the blind parents group, the parents of blind children, the student division, the merchants division, guide dog division, deaf blind. And we also have our exhibit hall on Thursday and Friday. I mean, there is just so much. I will say that one of the highlights that's a little different this year is our technology seminar actually has a name this year. And the name is Taking Care of Business.
Oh, I like that.
That's
cute. So we're going to be talking about, having a business and having a website and all that stuff that goes in with that. The folks from Blindness and Visual Services are going to be there to talk about the small business policy as well as the business enterprise policy that the state has for helping people to get into either one of those programs. So it will be very, very interesting.
I think it's important to note that you mentioned general sessions. There's so much to learn and there's so much inspiration there. And we found out, I don't know, I guess it was a couple of years ago, we did a couple of episodes after the convention and we talked to first-time convention goers and how inspired most of them were after going to that convention. It was their first one. They couldn't imagine all these blind people coming together and learning all this stuff. And the social aspect of the whole thing as well. So I do agree with you, Lynn. The whole thing is worth going to. If to just meet with people after everything is said and done in the bar, in the lobby, wherever. And I think it's an important thing to learn all of the stuff that other people do. Like Pam said earlier, when people come from all over the place, somebody in one spot might say, hey, I do something like this. Why don't you try it? And they say, oh, okay, I'll try that. And then now they have a new skill, and it just makes it a lot easier to do whatever that skill is, whether it's mobility or in the kitchen, whatever it might be.
It's also important to connect with the professionals. So as an example, I had a conversation today with a teacher of the visually impaired with the School District of Philadelphia, who called about a student she had who's now going to college, but they're having some trouble and where can they get help? And so I was telling her about the convention and she said, oh, well, gee, can I come? I said, absolutely. I said, we have a registration for professionals. And, you can come, we can get you a certificate of attendance that you can turn in to get Act 40 credits. But we'd love to have you. And please share this information with your other colleagues. Because that is such a breakthrough. It's really difficult to get, to the teachers in the schools.
I love the initiative that person is taking. That's really great. That's what I call going beyond the call of duty. And I'm so glad David brought up first timers because Lynn, I did want you to make a sort of call to urgency there to any first timers, what they can expect, and do we have anything in place? I guess we have them identified, but anything else in place to make sure we wrap our arms around the first timers?
So yes, Emily Gillisberger, who is our convention chair, Emily and I have been going through the list of people who've registered and trying to identify those people who are first timers. And, we want to personally meet them and connect them with somebody else who can maybe share as a mentor throughout this convention. I will say that I've also been contacted, and this has been really interesting because this never happened before. I've been contacted by a young lady who is from Nigeria, and she wants to come to convention. And as a matter of fact, she's already registered. And we've talked, and of course, there's a little bit of a language barrier. But I have asked her if she'd be willing to speak on our convention agenda to talk about, what is life like for a blind person in Nigeria. So, but then there have been several other people that I've noticed registrations come through from Nigeria as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm very excited to meet these people. And I don't know if they've been to a national convention, and so that's how they've gotten connected, or, how that's all worked.
That is great. That's awesome. Really great.
Mm-hmm.
Pam, I wonder, have you been keeping track? How many of these have you done to date? Do you know?
Oh my gosh, I have not. Somebody asked me that recently, and I have not. I have not counted. But I usually get to serve as a national rep for a couple in the spring and a couple in the fall. So even, and so I repped in Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. So that's it's been a bunch.
Yeah.
So, but I'm really excited. I'm so glad that you brought up people at first, for the first convention, because I think we can all remember our first time of going to a state convention, and that conversation or that presentation that we heard, or the personal connection where someone said hi, and tell me a little bit about you, and just how those interactions can really make such a difference for people. So I'm definitely looking forward to meeting everybody and welcoming everybody that's there for the first time, and also just to celebrating all of our members that have been members over the years. That's the great thing about the NFB is it's a constantly evolving organization, and we have so much history and knowledge and welcoming new people. So we're always growing.
Yeah. I think it's so cool that this, if you've never been to a convention at all, an NFB convention at all, the state conventions, it's just a way of just kind of putting your toe in the water and before doing the big, massive national thing. Might be kind of neat to have, even if it's on an informal level, something a much more scaled down, like I said, and much more informal version of Rookie Roundup at these state conventions. Like that might be kind of nice, just to have a little round table discussion with just, first timers.
That has happened, and some states have done something for first timers. Yeah, on that level, depending on their schedule and their time and space, but I have seen that in a couple different places, and it is because it can be a little overwhelming, at first, especially when you go to a convention of people, everybody seems to know everybody,
right?
And, you're like, how do I break in here? And so, but I think I really appreciate everybody has done, such a great job on the state level and nationally of making a acknowledging and welcoming first timers, and that's been so great to see.
Lynn and Pam, it has been great talking with you. Unless you have some further comments you want to say anything before we wrap up.
So I did want to ask Pam a question. Do you know Chuck Morgenstern?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes,
Yes.
I do. Yeah, again, it's funny. I think back to all the people over the years in Pennsylvania, all the different connections. It's really amazing and great. So, like we say, it's like a big family.
Oh.
So yeah, and I would just say I want to thank Lynn and Emily and everyone that is working so hard on putting the convention together. It is a lot of work that goes into putting on a state convention. It starts way in advance, and even when you get to the convention, there are things are nonstop. And so I just really appreciate all of the hard work that's going into it. And Lisa and David, thank you so much for this podcast to highlight the convention, but for all the work that you do throughout the entire year to share information and keep people connected. And I really celebrate what you're doing, and thank you both so much. I know it's a lot of work behind the scenes to put things together too, so thank you. And again, I'm very much looking forward to being with everybody in November, and I can't wait for a great convention.
It has been our delight to have you, Pam. Thank you for that.
So, Pam, we are very excited to have you and Roland come to our state convention this year to be our national representative. And you are absolutely right. There is a great, awesome, wonderful, fabulous team of individuals who have put everything together for this convention. We've had to create a whole new website, and we've had to create a whole new registration process, and just the logistics with the hotel and getting all the tickets in the right envelopes. There are just so many people involved. I am just so grateful for everybody who puts together any part of this convention, because you're absolutely right. It is a tremendous feat. And I am so appreciative for the members of this affiliate. They are really awesome. I mean, like right down to these two guys right here. David and Lisa came to me about doing the podcast. I think it was 3 years ago now, and they've been running with it ever since.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks for giving us the go ahead and the support and encouragement along the way. And Lynn and Pam, I guess we'll see you in Harrisburg.
Can't wait. See you soon.
Thanks again to Lynn and Pam for talking about the state convention coming up in Harrisburg in November. And it is so exciting to think about going out there and being together with everyone again. Lisa, are you getting excited for it?
I really am. And I think we have always done well with national representatives, but I'm very excited to meet Pam. I've seen her, of course, at national, but this will be a time to really get to know her a little more intimately. And I love that she and her husband are going to make themselves available and really help people take advantage of that free cane traveling that he may offer.
Yeah, a lot of education going on. As I said to Emily in the previous episode, it's education and inspiration when you go to a state convention, because it's not too big. Like national convention has 2,500 people. This is going to be 100 to 150 people. And it's easy to get together with folks. You make new friends, you connect with old ones from around the state. Everything about the state convention is good if you're blind. And as I said in the interview, you might learn from someone else how they do something, whether it's in the kitchen. And in this case, mobility is going to be huge, with Pam's husband, Roland, teaching the O&M instructions around the hotel and maybe even around Harrisburg. It'll just be a great learning opportunity for everyone.
State convention is just, if this is your first time, it's a much more manageable convention than, say, national, if that makes you kind of skittish. So I always look forward to our state conventions.
Yeah, so let's remind everyone of the dates. It's the 9th through the 12th of November at the Crown Plaza in Harrisburg. It is literally 2 or 3 blocks from the train station. Very easy to get to if you want to walk it. If you're bringing a bunch of luggage, maybe you want to take an Uber or a taxi or something like that, but very close. The hotel is very easy to get around. I use the stairs all the time that I'm there, other than when I'm taking my luggage up or bringing my luggage down. It's just everything about it is great. You can get to the registration pages by going to nfbofpa.org/state-convention. You can go there and you'll see where to register as an attendee. You'll see there's a page there where it will have all the hotel information. It's $99 a night, and rooms are still available in the NFB block. Make sure you let the folks know when you call that you're registering and you're going to be attending the National Federation of the Blind convention. So you get that $99 rate. There's also, if you're interested in being an exhibitor, there's a page to register there as well. All sorts of information there, but you've got to register by the 15th of October. After the 15th of October, you are not guaranteed meals because the order has to be placed by the 15th of October. So if you don't have your meals in, not to say that there aren't some great restaurants close by, but you won't be eating with everybody in the hotel if you don't get your registration in by the 15th of October. So go to the site, make sure you register, and we look forward to seeing a lot of folks there. As Lynn said, some folks are coming in from Nigeria. I'm excited to meet them and just hear about their travel from Nigeria to Harrisburg. That'll be interesting to find out. And again, to meet a lot of new folks.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to bingo.
Yeah, that
sounds fun.
That's one thing we didn't really touch on. That honestly is, there's so many things that you learn and so much inspiration that you get. The auction has always been my favorite since I think I've been going since 2018. I think our first conventions were the same, right? That 2018 was yours?
Yes.
And it is just the greatest. It's just a lot of fun. There's a cash bar. There's going to be talent. If you have any kind of talent, singing, juggling knives, I mean, that would be interesting. As a bunch of blind people, the only way we're gonna know that you missed is when you say "ow" because you did miss. Yeah, just a lot of fun. It's just the auction and talent show on Friday night. Angelina will be singing. I spoke to her, and she's going to be doing some songs. I'm sure Simon will be doing some songs. It'll be interesting to see if Pam does anything, but it's just a lot of fun. And of course, all the learning that you get on Saturday at the general sessions, just a lot of great stuff.
Let us know if you're planning to attend. If you're a first timer, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you after the convention, and maybe we'll have you on. You can email us at whitecanesconnect@gmail.com.
And if you are excited about going and you want to let us know when you're going, how excited you are for it, what you're looking forward to as far as the agenda goes. And by the way, the agenda is over at the website, and it's preliminary for now, nfbfpa.org/2023-agenda. It'll be fluid up until we get into convention week, but that's where you can find it now if you want to have a general idea of what's going to be going on. Again, nfbfpa.org/2023-agenda. Please let us know what you're excited about. Give us a call, 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes. Leave your name and town. If you do, leave a voicemail. We're excited to hear from you. We'll play it on an upcoming episode. Again, 267-338-4495. Lisa, what a great show this was.
Yes, and see you all in Harrisburg. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everyone.